Animal Hospital is a popular Roblox game where you get hired to work the night shift at a hospital, and treating patients gets you paid at the end of your shift. In today's episode of Making This Game in Roblox Studio, we're going to be working on the payment system itself, including a store where you can buy items, as well as a new system that allows for a constant flow of new patients. Okay, let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is create a money system. As you can see, I've already added a shift 1 at the top here, which is just going to show the shift number that you're on. And now we've got to create a little money GUI, which will obviously hold all our money. And for that, I've created this. Not entirely pretty, but it works. And for adding the money itself, we've got to add a script inside of serve script service, which is this script. A really simple script. So when the player joins the game, it will create a new folder called leader stats, and then inside of that it will create an int value, or an integer value, or a number value I guess, which will hold the cash that the player earns. So obviously they start at 0 here, it's going to be called cash, and then at the end of each shift, or maybe for ease just for now, after serving each patient you get a certain amount of money. So if we want to code that now, we come out of that, we want to go to the patient, and I've added a patient into server storage. So as you can see here, we've got the patient who was right here. We've put him into server storage because we're trying to, as I said in the intro, create a constant flow of patients. And in the last episode, basically what would happen is the patient would walk up to here, we would register them, we'd come over here, we'd serve them, we treat them, and then they'd walk around here, out here, and then that's it. That is the end of the game, which is obviously not very good fun at all. So now I'm going to code it so that when you treat the patient, they're going to walk out, and as they are walking out, a new patient is going to come out, and you will then get infinite patients, which obviously is not how the game works because it's a certain amount of patients per shift, but we can code that eventually. But for now, only part 2, we're going to just code this so that we can test it and we can get a bit of money, and then we can make the store, which I know you guys have probably seen just over here. And believe me, we are going to get to the laser, trust me, I will explain that in a minute. So in here, we're going to, as you can see, I've just created an in-game bool value, which basically when they are added to the game, then they will move to the waiting area. So inside of the main script of the patient, down here, in the last interaction, they're going to walk out here, and their name is going to be changed to treated because we're now going to have multiple patients at a time, which means they can't all be called patients. So once they're treated, they'll be named treated. And as you can see here, inside of the replicated storage, we're going to set ready for the next patient to true, which means we're obviously ready for the next patient. And then here, we're going to add 20 cash coins, dollars, whatever you want to call it, to the player's total cash. And then we also have this script inside of serve script service called shift logic, which will detect when the player joins again, and it will get the shift number, which we've added I believe is a number value inside of replicated storage. Yep, here we go, shift number, and then also patients to serve. So eventually we're going to code it so that there's 2 patients for the first shift, and then 3, and then 4, etc. We're just going to leave it for now, but when the player joins, they will basically have 10 seconds to just kind of chill, get the controls ready before the first patient joins. So we're going to get the patient out of server storage, we're going to clone them, and then we're going to put them inside of workspace. And as you can see, we're going to tell my code that they are now in the game, so they are in the workspace and they can be coded. And then we're also going to tell the game that we are no longer ready for the next patient, because the next patients come in, we do not want any more. If we do not do this, then we're going to get one after another, which we obviously don't want. So I think we're going to just test that and see if that all works. Hopefully it does. Okay, so I've spawned in. As you can see, we've got shift 1 here, we've got $0, and then hopefully, here we go, the first patient rolls up. We can sign them in by doing this, and then they're going to walk over here. We're going to ignore the store for now. We're going to take DNA, sample it, we're going to get the medicine, which I think is this one, and then apply the treatment, and then after 10 seconds, it should be able to leave. Also, if you're wondering when I coded all this other stuff, it will be in part 1, which you can probably see just on the top corner there, if you'd like to see that. And then we can do, you're ready to go, and then as they leave, they awkwardly walk out. We have the next patient, I believe, there we go, the next patient spawns in, and we can now interact with them, sign them in, and then the cycle continues. And as you can see, I'm not sure if you saw it, I've now got 20 cash as well, $20, 20 cash, whatever you want to call it. We can do the next one, bandages. It basically gets a random illness and a random fix. So for instance, we've got bandages, we got eye drops, and we got medicine. So this one's asking for bandages, so we're going to hold the bandages, apply the treatment, they're going to wait 10 seconds, and then once we tell them to go like that, we are then going to get paid another 20. And so I think it's time to get onto the the store, which as you can see, it says hyper laser gun purchase, but this actually doesn't do anything at the moment. So inside of the proximity prompt of this hyper laser gun, we're going to add a script, and this is the code that I have decided to use. So on the gun itself, on the item itself, we've added an attribute called price, which we just set to 10 for now. Obviously it'll be a lot more than that, probably 50, 100 or something. And as you can see, if the player.leaderstats.cash.value is bigger than the price, so if the player has enough money to purchase it, then it will take the money away and it will clone the item, put it in the player's backpack, and then obviously just do this little print statement just to help out with any debugging. So I think now we're going to test this. So we've got to treat a patient first, so we'll just wait for the first patient to come in, and then here he is. Okay, so he's going to walk up to the glass. We're going to sign him in with all this stuff. Again, this was all in the first part if you'd like to go watch that. And then they're going to come over here. We're going to take the DNA, we're going to sample it, and then okay, what does it say? It says eye drops. Okay, something different, which is good. We're going to get the eye drops, we're going to apply the treatment, and then they are recovering, so they're going to chill there for a little bit. They're going to chill there for 10 seconds, and then they'll be good to go, and we can send them on their way. So you're ready to go. And then as you can see, we've got 20 cash here. We've got the next patient coming in, and then we can just press E, and there you have it. So we are $10 down and now have, well, $10, and we can see the laser. And let's say this is a patient we don't like for whatever reason, we can just, yeah. Obviously, when that happens, we don't have another patient to go next, so let's hope that players don't do that. No, I'm joking. We're going to try and fix that so that when there is no patient, we will then try to spawn another one. But that will be the end of the episode there. We've done the store, we've done the payment system, and we've made it a revolving number of customers, which is also really useful. And in case you're wondering what the actual point of the gun is, for those of you who have not played Animal Hospital, which is what this game is based on, basically there is a small chance that you'll get an anomaly. So it'll be a patient who is acting strange, you know, someone that shouldn't be there. So in this game, it will be an evil alien, for instance, and it's your job to basically take them out. So what you can do is you can pull this lever and it will close the shutters, and then it just says, we're not serving you, in the Animal Hospital game. But in ours, what we could do to make it a bit more interesting is that you've got to shoot them with a laser, which would be a lot more interesting. So I think that's something that we're going to do. And what we could do is code that now, although I'd rather have an entire episode kind of like dedicated to making the anomalies, because I don't think it's going to be very easy, and I want to get as many videos out to you guys as possible. So that is the end of episode 2. If there's anything you'd like me to add in episode 3, episode 4, in any future episodes, then just let me know in the comments. I'll be reading as many as possible. I'll be trying to get as many of your ideas as possible, because I know you guys come up with quite a few good, interesting ideas, which would be really cool to add. And like always, if you'd like to play this game, it's obviously nowhere near finished, but if you would like to play it a bit early, the game is currently public, and the link to play it will be at the very top of the description down below. But otherwise, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.